What's up, good people? Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as Game Time Brian, it does not work. And it's been, life has been kind of crazy this off season here, and we haven't had a chance to do this in a while with Game Time Brian, but we're going to just kind of do a little freestyle here and maybe talk about some of the camp battles that we have going on, some of the changes that possibly may be happening with OTAs and training camp, and the Eagles. Do they really have anything to pound their chest about? Brian, how are you doing this evening, buddy?
What's going on, Mark? How are you, my friend? Just dog days. This is the dog days before training camp.
Mm-hmm.
We sit here 57 days away from training camp. We
And
think it's going to open up on the 24th.
100 days from the season kickoff.
Yes, and 100 days from the Thursday night game. Yes, indeed. So it's getting closer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting that little warm and fuzzy feeling inside, even though the haters, the doubters, the question marks are out in droves, just like last year, right, Mark?
They're there every year. They're there every year. And, the doubters, the haters, and the trolls, if you want to find them, just look in the comments or a live stream on my channel because, my God, I don't know if anybody else has them as thick as I do, but some of these people are insane. Now, I'm not going to say that Dak Prescott's the best quarterback in the world, but sometimes you got to look and say, okay, you did some good things there. You need to work on some other things, but people can't give any ounce of credit whatsoever.
Not at all. Not at all.
You would think that CeeDee Lamb is taking the snap and throwing the ball to himself.
Yeah, and this is the season of bashing Dak Prescott. Again, I just don't like the narrative, and like the narrative how it's a team game, people, and stats mean nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we just look at one game in a playoff. He didn't play well. I get it. We'll see what Trey Lance is going to do, but Trey Lance has a lot to prove between now and the start of the season. It's going to be Dak Prescott. But for good, the bad, the ugly, it's going to be Dak this year. After this year, who knows?
Here's what I'm going to say on this.
Are out in droves, man.
Here's what I'm going to say. The fact that they basically saying it's a battle for number 2, they're not even putting him in the equation to say that he has an opportunity to take Dak Prescott's spot.
No. I don't think that's the case.
If the Cowboys were trying to apply
year,
pressure or, trying to use that to help negotiate, I still believe, that the Cowboys are looking and saying, we got our bills paid this year. Let's eat this $55 million this year and get ourselves in a better position next year on the contract. That's what I believe. I know what the haters will say is you're just not realizing. You don't want to admit it. Dak's gone. You're just making
Here's the deal. I resigned myself to the fact that I don't know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But I have an idea, but it doesn't matter what I think. What I'm excited about, and that's all I really care about. What I'm excited about right now is knowing that we have Dak Prescott as our starter, okay? God forbid, there's a soft tissue, any type of injury. We have a young stud that's been in the system by the time the season starts for the better part of a year.
You got 2 guys. You got Cooper Rush, too.
Well, I understand, but Cooper Rush, to me, again, he's very, very limited. I understand everybody goes, well, he went 4-1 as a starter. Our defense played and had to play at a certain level. Mm-hmm. Cooper Rush wasn't winning you a game. He had an opportunity to win in Philly, couldn't get it done when the defense played great. So,
but people will say that he did win those 4 games.
I don't care what they say. Use your eyes. Trey Lance is a number 2 overall pick in the league. Who Kyle Shanahan, flat brand Kyle, he couldn't obviously, Mr. Quarterback guru. Trey Lance came in with nothing but fundamental problems, starting with the feet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, his rhythm, his feet were all off. Kyle Shanahan, what were you doing with this guy? Okay, every writer in San Francisco says, geez, if this guy can only stay healthy, I got news for you. He's got a higher ceiling than Brock Purdy. That being said, it's Dak's football team. But Yeah, God forbid, though, Mark, something happens for a week or two. I feel a hell of a lot better going with a young, athletic. They're going to keep three anyway. It's not like they're not keeping three.
Hmm.
You know, I think it's a situation as God forbid something happens at Dak in the middle of a game, they'll bring in Cooper Rush. He'll be the number two. But if it's a long term situation
Right.
where he's out multiple weeks, I
Hmm.
think they'll go with Trey Lance. The bottom line is, people, we're deep at that position. What do we care beyond this year? We don't know what's going to happen beyond this year. Let's focus in on this year. If they re-sign Dak Prescott to a long-term deal before the season, like we think, then
Hmm.
it'll be interesting to see what they do with Trey Lance. But
Right.
until that time, we're loaded at quarterback. That's how we got to look at it, people. It's not a negative.
Now,
We're
now,
loaded.
now, before we get knee deep in training camp and stuff, I need to address something. This is kind of like, I guess, shots being fired early. But Dan Sileo, I know you're in that local market and you see those guys and you deal with the Eagle fans on a
I do.
regular. I don't know how you deal with it. I just don't. They cray cray. We all know that I was gone for 11 days up in Vermont, giving back. The Philly 500 and Dan were basically saying I'm a coward and I was scared and I'm hiding and witness protection and all that. Be that as it may, the thing I find so funny is how they seem to be so arrogant and like when bad things happen to the Eagles, it's like they got blinders on and they don't see it. When I looked at going into the post-draft last year, post-draft power rankings, they had Kansas City as the number one ranked team.
This is
Right?
last year,
This is
correct?
last year, going into the
Gotcha.
season. The number two team was the Eagles, and they were praising Howie. This is NFL.com, their early rankings. All hail Howie. The Eagles GM did it again, nabbing two highly talented defenders in the first round, Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith, before pulling the trigger on a logical, smart trade to acquire running back DeAndre Swift from the Lions on Saturday. The moves make Philadelphia better on both sides of the ball and further entrench the Eagles as the top dog in the NFC. So, wait a minute. Was Nolan Smith that good?
No. Uh,
I thought.
Nolan Smith is hanging by a thread. Most Eagle
Oh,
fans would be honest to
okay.
tell you, but you can't call him a bust.
I'm
Just
not
like you
saying he's a
can't call
bust,
Mozzie a bust.
but
No, but I'm saying
let's nabbing two highly talented defenders in the first round. So this is another first round draft pick that you thought was going to be a first round draft pick and a stud, and you say he's hanging by a thread, and they were praised for that, right? How
no,
about the trade for
exactly.
DeAndre Swift? Isn't he gone already?
He's gone already.
So they were
Kevin
ranked,
Byard, that was a mid-season one. He's
and
gone.
he's gone. So it's not like everything they do hits, right? So they were
Shaq Leonard,
considered
he's gone.
right. So,
On and on. I get you.
but they were ranked as the number two team, and they have an epic collapse. Epic. I'm sorry. I know that I think it was the Arizona Cardinals started at one time 4-0 and then didn't win another game the rest of the season.
Well, let me ask you something.
What happened to the
What was
Eagles
their
last year was
famous?
just as bad.
What was their biggest offseason move?
This year or that year?
No, this year.
Barkley.
Eagles.
Barkley?
Okay. Does he play defense?
No.
Okay. Well, like when he can, like tackle a running back or cover a running back, their linebackers are horrendous, Mark. Horrendous. Okay.
Yeah.
I keep hearing Devin
And a new
White.
defensive coordinator.
Okay. I keep hearing Devin White. Okay. Listen, I'm not rooting against Devin White, but he's been a monumental failure since his rookie year. Yet he's going to come into Philly and rejuvenate. That's about as a big a question mark as you could have. And how come they're allowed to have those type of question marks, but the Cowboys can't have an ounce of question? We got to have lockdown Pro Bowlers at every position. Or, oh my God, you're relying on rookies, or you're relying on a question mark.
Whoa. I point out that we got Diggs coming back, right?
But there you
Okay,
go.
we got
Right,
Diggs coming back, and we got Deron Bland. Okay,
Yep.
those two guys have been like the highest interceptors over the last couple of seasons, and somehow The Eagles' two rookie
I don't
quarterbacks
understand
that
that.
they're going to be
Every
better.
time I say it, Mark, I don't understand that
What?
logic.
It's
Big
like
play
what?
Slay and Bradbury. Bradbury's probably
Bradbury's
not going to
probably
be on
gone.
your roster. He's not going to be on your roster.
Yeah.
Look at the cap number. He's probably gone, people. Then you're gonna. Yet, Mark, we have question marks with our left tackle and our center. Which, when you really look into it, the the juggernaut aside, Brock Hoffman played multiple games at center last year and
Right.
played as well, if not better, than Tyler
There
Biadasz
you go.
already. We're already ahead of the game
Hmm.
there, people, regardless of the juggernaut.
Well,
Okay, so
here's
stop
the
it
other
with the
thing.
questions. We all have questions.
Here's where I think actually the Cowboys are better because A, you're in the second year of the same system. The Eagles learned last year changing two coordinators, it's not easy. We learned that in the first 5, 6 games where our offense was not really in sync.
Yet another question mark that they're automatically going to solve. That's all I'm trying to point out to you. The question marks are mounting for the Eagles. Yet Dallas has question marks, and you can't overcome them. Just like last year, right? When you
Right.
were projected to you finish number two over, you were number two as far as your powerhouse teams.
Well,
Again,
here's kind of
it's
things.
good business. You're crapping on the Cowboys. That's what it
Here's
is.
where I think that the Cowboys, if they can take off on the offense where it was at the end of the regular season, because you could see it blows my mind because Brandon Cooks the first 7 games averaged 2.4 receptions a game, 23 yards and 9.3 yards per reception. That was ass. The last 9 games that he played, he
Yes,
averaged
these are facts, people.
4.1 yards. I'm sorry, 4.1 catches per game,
Oh, I have his numbers here.
13.5 yards per reception,
He
and
ended up with
54.
657
No,
yards.
but
Yes, he.
I'm breaking it down though from the first 7 games to the last 9.
Yes,
So
exactly.
the difference was the first 7 games he was getting 9.1. The last 9 he was getting 13.5. When you can get more than 4 yards more per reception,
Yeah,
it's
he
huge.
averaged twelve
Okay,
point two yards a reception. He had
on the
ended up with
season,
8 touchdowns.
right? And so if you were to project those numbers that he did the last 9 games of the season, he's
We,
over 900 yards.
we talked about it that he was coming on at the end of the year. Yeah, anytime I do a live stream, I get laughed at and go, "Oh, he's washed." He's not washed. It's not easy
8
coming in.
TDs.
It's not, yeah, and that was like I said, that was uh like Mark said, he outlined it. That was coming in um as a new guy in a new offense, new quarterback. It's not easy, people. It's not easy. Mark, they don't get a
Yeah.
lot of practice time. I mean, you can
No.
only go out to the Dak Ranch or the Dak Yard. It's tough. You need to be in there. But yeah, when the bullets are flying for real. So he was
Right.
catching his stride at the end of the year. I'm excited about
Well,
Brandon Cooks.
if he
He's
can,
in a
yeah,
contract year like
he's in a
everybody else.
contract year too, right? But if he can play just like he did towards the end of the season, along with CD, and I actually, I loved Michael Gallup. I met him in Atlanta at the Super Bowl years ago and stuff, and he did work with United Way and things. But it just seemed like there was a black cloud over him, and it seemed like every time he was on the field,
I wish nothing
something
but the
bad
best.
was
Yeah.
always happening. But if you look at Jalen Tolbert's numbers, because he didn't get anywhere near the
Nah, he didn't get
opportunities,
much run at all.
but you looked at his numbers were better, much better than Michael Gallup's. And I'm not going to say that he's going to have a breakout stud season, but he doesn't
I
necessarily
am.
have to. If he can get it to 500 or 600 yards here,
Oh yeah, yeah.
you know,
Absolutely will.
and
Absolutely will. If he's healthy, he's just watch. I love the pick when they did it. He didn't come in like I outlined many times. His from his high school to college was a no show. It was a red shirt year, and same from college to pro was a red shirt year. Yet last year when he got an opportunity again, he also averaged over 12 yards a catch. He didn't get a lot of run.
now,
Yeah, I think that's Dallas's main issue. I think that's a downfall of if I had to say one fault by the Cowboys, they don't give their young guys enough look. They want to always rely on the veteran, like a Chuma Edoga that we saw. He's already been handed. in name only, people, the left tackle job. Just in that's they were never going to say, Tyler, you're the guy. In day one of OTAs,
I
they
would.
rely on their friggin' a veteran. Sometimes you got to go with a young, talented rookie. That's my only issue with the Cowboys, really.
Yeah.
So Jalen Tolbert's going to have a big year.
Well, but that
Get
is if
ready.
Jalen Brooks
Well,
doesn't
again,
take that spot and really
you
impress
know
him.
I love Jalen Brooks.
Hmm.
That was a guy I identified coming out of college that he reminds me of a young Michael Thomas. People are going to get all carried away. This is before he played one game in the NFL, and he had a couple opportunities, but training camp was through the roof, and him
Hmm.
and Dak are already clicking. So the Jalen's are our future people, along with CeeDee Lamb. So
Yeah.
you know, uh, I'm
Now,
happy
one
with
other
it.
thing about Brandon Cooks, I think, and this is what I actually like about this. CeeDee Lamb is an incredible wide receiver. He's an incredible talent. He can do some things that, very few people can. But I still feel like he's still a young pup. That he's not like a Michael Irvin that's ready to kind of, be a leader. It seems like, and maybe I'm wrong, but Brandon Cooks is becoming kind of that spokesperson, that kind of leader. You heard him pumping up Jalen Tolbert and things like that, and also, of course, talking about Dak Prescott. I think he's developing into one of those guys that is a
You
leader.
mentioned that the other day, and I kind of poo pooed it, but I know what you're saying.
Hmm.
Anybody that comes out on the final year of the deal and they're pumping up the rookie,
Hmm.
that means he's comfortable in his own skin. He's comfortable what he knows he's going to do on the football field. I commend him for being that type of player to help out a guy like a Jalen Tolbert and a
Yeah.
Jalen Brooks. I That is a leader in the utmost. You asked me if I thought he could be a leader. I'm like, it's tough to be a leader when you're on the final year of a deal. But after seeing how he's come out, he's
Hmm.
openly helping these guys. He's saying, "Oh my god!" Everybody sees the confidence in Jalen Tolbert, right? Like right now, Mark.
Yeah.
It's emitting off of him. He is like the weight of the world. He has his opportunity, and the dude is a big, fast, just I'm excited. We are getting really talented in the wide receiver, and it's a shame because a lot of our fans don't know.
Hmm.
They're like, "Oh, we got to go out and get somebody." No, we
Well,
don't.
not
We
always.
don't.
That's not always the case. Sometimes, like we said, uh, you look at some of the moves the Eagles made. Swift, they got him for a year and he's gone. Odell, who went to Baltimore. Brandon Cooks had a better season than Odell did. And Odell left
Yeah.
dead money up there. So,
Do you know what I want to ask you this before we get out of here? But Why are some Cowboys fans? And it's not just a handful. I don't know. But I don't know what you're seeing, but
oh my
the
God, so negative.
negativity like towards Dak, but even like CeeDee Lamb saying he's not worth
And
this, he's
Micah
not
as
worth it.
well.
Why is it all of a sudden now? I mean, I've questioned a couple of these fans, these unnamed fans, that I won't dime them out. But I'm like, are you a Dallas fan? I don't understand why you're being so negative. What do you care with any particular play? I could see Dak why you would have a problem if you want to label all the playoff failures on him. That's not
Hmm.
fair, but I could see it. But what did CeeDee Lamb ever do to anybody? What did Micah Parsons ever do to anybody?
As they say, the expectations are Super Bowls and nothing else. And so anything short of that, you're a
Okay,
bum
but
and a
CeeDee
loser.
Lamb is
But
is
let's see, this goes back to this is why I hate
he set
fantasy.
records, people.
No, but see, you got to understand that this goes back to fantasy football. Okay, that
Maybe you're right.
this goes back to people feeling like they're entitled, that everybody owes them something, and so when you look at it and say, "Oh, well, he's a bum ass quarterback," just trade him, because we always hear trade Dak. Trade him for what? Who out there are you going to be able to trade for in the NFL? You think that the Cleveland Browns haven't tried to trade for somebody or draft somebody? You
Yeah.
think the Commanders haven't tried to do that? It's not that freaking easy.
No, it's
But they
not.
look at us and they see other teams win, so they automatically say, well, we need that guy, we need that guy. But it doesn't always work. We just pointed out some of the moves Howie made last year that he was praised for. Didn't exactly pan out the way they thought they were. And the difference, I will say, between the Eagles and the Cowboys is the Eagles almost have to go out in free agency to get
Correct.
players. Okay. And when we had Leo on Sunday, I was having this discussion. I was saying, listen, you guys kept trying to get a number one wide receiver. You know, you tried to get
Well, he's the
Rhaegar, you
one
got
that,
Dakota
yeah,
Whiteside and all this stuff. And I said, so you finally had to go out and get A.J. Brown as opposed to us drafting CeeDee Lamb,
CD Lamb. Right.
right?
Exactly.
So that's the difference. Okay, so we go out and we end up drafting a Micah Parsons. Well, then you guys got to go out and sign somebody else in kind because you're not necessarily
The
drafting
next time
those
that
impact players.
yeah, the next time that they draft a cornerback or a linebacker that does anything, let me know.
Oh my
Now I know
God!
they got two. Listen, I know you got two corners. I'm not sitting here saying they're both going to be failures. Well, one's going to be a safety. He's going to take C.J. Gardner Johnson's job after this year. But, um, you know, their history. Listen, when I give Eagles praise or Howie praise, it's not because I want Howie all in totality. I want him because he's willing to make a move to put a team over the top if he sees a deficiency, whereas our guy tries to put a square peg in a round hole, aka Marquise Bell playing
Playing
linebacker.
linebacker. It's
And
freaking the
like
same.
instead of going out at the deadline and getting somebody or going out and getting a Derrick Henry because we can't run it. We run the ball
Well,
and we're getting
we can
stuffed
say,
at the
okay.
line of
We can at
scrimmage.
least say that I can't remember his name. The linebacker we brought in there, and then he went to Philadelphia and signed with them.
Yeah, Shaq Leonard.
Yeah, Shaq Leonard. Yeah. So
That was a good no sign.
that was exactly. So that
But you
wasn't going to help
started
us
this
any.
off about, just real quick. I want to touch on it before we get out of here. The only thing I'm disappointed in is the Philly 500 who didn't have your back and said no, because he knew exactly what you were doing. He knew
Oh
where
man.
you were.
Yeah.
You were in Vermont helping out families that have been either, well, you could tell the story, but
Yeah. In need
basically
of help.
in need of help from storm damage a year ago, right? A
Yeah.
year ago. So you were there, putting your time, your blood, sweat, and tears, and you sounded like you got the flu while you were out there,
I did.
and it was a little frustrating that I
While they're
tuned in
sitting
and
on
I
their
saw
fat
that. It's all
ass,
fun and
basically.
games, bro, but you know, like unless are going to lay it on the line and go help somebody in need, shut your mouth or at least say, all right, this is what
Well,
he's doing.
it
But
is
that's on me.
as much as I enjoy doing the show and doing YouTube and stuff. Sometimes in life, there's other things that are more important that you got to do, and I don't do something like that because I'm looking for people to praise.
No,
What I'm
but
looking
you
at it
shouldn't get
from.
crapped on.
Well, but here's the thing with it is,
Don't say nothing if you can't say something nice.
well, I look at it like this: if I were in the same situation, I would hope for somebody to look out and say, "Hey, you need some help. Let me help you." I'm
Yeah.
just trying to pay it forward, so to speak, and maybe try and be a good example. But I've got the cockroaches that, oh, you're just hired. Dan Salio and Philly 500 own you. You're scared. You're a little bitch. And it's like, really, people?
Yeah, well, I
At
don't
some point,
listen. I know they were joking, so I'm not mad. I'm not mad. But then by doing that, like you said, it opens it.
you froze on me, bro. You froze. Okay, so
To then go off in ways that are ridiculous. But it's
yeah.
spot on. It's crazy.
That's all good,
Absolutely.
because the real fans here know what we do and all that stuff, and as they say, there's no such thing as bad publicity. So
No, no, I
whether they're
know.
watching to like me or hate me, they're watching. So that's
Oh,
all that
they love
counts as
you.
numbers.
That's
What is your my honest opinion is I don't think we got any worse. I honestly, you're froze again. You're froze. You got this like I'm on the toilet pooping look. Okay. While I'm waiting for it to come back, my opinion is I don't think the Cowboys are going to be any worse this season. I honestly believe that they're probably as good as they were last year. We'll have to wait and see how some of the pieces go together. I think they're going to have a tougher schedule, and it's going to be hard sledding starting early on, having these rookies and things on here. But I believe that this team is going to be able to get themselves together, and having those last 6 of 8 games at home could be big to get them some momentum. The big question will be is, see, we lost him completely there. The big question will be is, how will they do? Can they at least maintain 500 through the first half of the season? If they can do 500 or better, watch out, NFL, because that's going to be a battle-tested team that will definitely be able to do some damage. All right, so I lost my buddy Game Time Brian, and we'll go ahead and finish this off here now, and we'll hook up with Brian a little bit later. Tomorrow I will be definitely doing the Dan Salio show from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and I will be giving it back to them. So with that being said, I appreciate you guys. Peace out.
Mark Holmes, the son of John Holmes, has ever had Stephen Jones on 4 times on his show? Who in the world is Mark Holmes? Will somebody please tell me?
By the way, King Dick back here, and so before we start this video, I gotta get this mother humping thing out of the way.